Yeah, I'm very excited to get into these picks and bans. I hope we do get a bit of spice. I'm very happy to see both the Rel and the Rumble banned away. Rumble had a 100% win rate yesterday, so I actually feel like the teams should have learned from that, at least from watching yesterday. Ban that Rumble, don't let it through. It might be tradable with other things, but Rumble just seems to have so much power in those team fights. Good Poppy ban as well, denying that from the likes of Kakos, who likes to play, that kind of absorbent top lane style.
Yeah, and it is a flex pick as well, right? Indecision would be able to pilot it in that jungle. Love to see these target bans already, though, from Ruddy, taking away the Poppy for one. Would like to see Nord try and take away this Yasuo here. Either that, or they've spent a little bit of time in this postseason drafting something and preparing something that can go against the Yasuo. NV carriers pretty much only won only when he's got his hands on the Windmaster in the mid lane. So it certainly makes a lot of sense if they want to ban that one away.
And if they leave it open, they also then have to fear about things like the Sejuani. These kind of like the supportive junglers who can play so well with the melee mid laner. So it's something they do have to keep their mind on. Nord now looking to put through their final ban before we let and see who Ruddy want to be picking up there. It is going to be that Rakan. Remember, we saw yesterday a lot of presence on red side. Trading that 1 power pick for the 2 power picks in response was a hyper powerful thing here. So we'll see what Nord are going to be looking to pick up as their 2 picks. But over to Ruddy, thinking about what they're going to play in the jungle most likely here as a first pick Sejuani. I think we might get a Yasuo out of MV carry.
I mean, this is also a flex for MV carry, right? He has played Sejuani in the mid lane once.
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. I want to
the Master Yi angle again.
Yeah, I don't want to put that evil out there, but no, it's most likely going over to Zapdos. It is his most played champion of the split, and also very much an indecision style champion too. So you're kind of taking that one away from him. Responding with that Xayah lock-in, no surprise either. Again, Hido's most played champion so far in this champ sets. We've got a lot of comfort. Both teams resorting to, their most played picks. I'm curious about the Milio as well. Milio has been left open, which is something we often see permaban too. I don't want to say too much about this either, and he did get his little mini rework, and we have seen him pop up a bit more with that ADC in the mid lane. It's not going to be that. Instead, that Azir blind, which I like as well, because this is one of the better matchups into Yasuo, should Ruddy opt into that.
Still, a lot of very high presence picks on the patch that have been just completely left by the wayside at the minute. I'm looking at Kai'Sa, I'm looking at Tristana as 2 picks that Ruddy could look to take if they want to give themselves a consistent source of DPS through these fights. And whilst we've been hyping up MV carry Yasuo, I was going to say, if the comp doesn't match it, you don't have to go for it. He's going to take it anyway. It makes a lot of sense, as we've said. Most played, by far and away, is just the best champ he looks like he's playing on. And when you've got Toaster that can happily pull an Ezreal out of his back pocket, it gives you a lot of pressure in the mid section of the map, because your Ezreal can play quite safe. You know that you're very likely to get a winning style of top lane, because Shihan's going to get a fairly aggressive top laner. Catchcost likely to play a resource non-intensive top laner. You just get a lot of priority into Zapdos MV carry specifically.
And what that means to me when I see an Ezreal is a roaming support, because Ezreal's relatively safe in that bot lane. Obviously has that shift to kind of dodge away, can just play at the distance with his Q. Obviously you do somewhat start to lack wave clear on the side of Ruddy, which could be a major undoing for them here. But if they can get their hands on like a Nautilus, you can just perma-roam mid, then Omen's in for a really, really rough day of it. So we'll see what's going to get banned away here on the side of Nord. I expect to see that support pool get pinched even more. They actually decide to change towards Mr. Spin the Blocks top lane pool, taking away the Darius from him. We'll see what they are going to look to continue to ban. On the other side, it's a hard one to call, actually, because they could also look to pinch the support pool, but that just comes and bites them back, because they're not getting first pick on support. I'm interested to see what's going to get banned here. I can't make heads or tails of this.
This is what happens when you've got the 3 roles being the same on both sides of the draft, right? You can kind of just do whatever you want. It just comes down to preference here. It seems like both of the teams are going to dogpile into top lane bans, which I actually think benefits Catchcost, because I feel like he has, I don't want to necessarily say like a wider pool, but he's been more effective on those like just boring slap me down just rocking the top side. I mean, it could be Malphite as well, like Catchcost has played that, but not specifically Malphite. Just any of those like tank junglers that just soak up pressure and you just ignore them. Like, I feel like that leans more into into Nord's strength than Ruddy's, although of course Sheehan can do it too. What's really standing out for me in the draft so far, though, is 6 of the 5 champions picked so far are the players most played this split. So much comfort coming through here in game 1. You're not starting off with any curveballs or anything like that. The only exception being that Vi for Indecision, who I'm sure would have been played more, but had an exceptionally high presence when she was OP, and then kind of got nerfed pretty hard with that ultimate cooldown. So yeah, that's a bit of a spanner here, but it's going to be it is instead going to be that kind of dog tanky top for Catchcross here. Interestingly, only played 1 game of Cassante, but it will be him in the top.
Still looking for AP here on Ruddy's side, right? Gwen, a good answer to the Cassante typically. Kennen as well, still open if Sheehan wants a little bit more team fight tools available to him. Means that you need, like we said, this magic damage to come through from that top side. Get to see Sheehan pull out the Gwen, have a nice favourable matchup. Once you get to that level 6 mark, you feel very comfortable taking these trades and trying to play split push as well. 1-3-1s in abundance here for Ruddy. We've mentioned their lack of wave clearing. The mid lane potentially with this Ezreal. That doesn't really matter if you're playing through all 3 lanes, and the siege can never come through for Nord.
Yeah, I think that's going to really be the game plan here. The Braum, the final pickup here. Pretty safe there on that bot side, but also, you know, it can move around the map, especially when you've got that Ezreal. I'm really liking what Ruddy have put together here. I think there is a clear weakness that we've highlighted in the wave clear department. When you're playing into the likes of a Xayah and Azir, if they do find themselves just trying to siege as a big group, they're never going to touch those towers without Baron. But there's a bit of team fighting, there's a bit of side laning that can come out. I'm curious to hear your thoughts though, Rude Dude, on this Nord draft, because this feels, you know, a little bit more traditional to me. Yes, Vi's not been meta for a while, ever since kind of a bunch of nerfs came in on her, and also just Zeri kind of fell out the meta a little bit. But I'm curious to get your thoughts on what do you feel about this Nord lineup and how the game plan is going to be for these guys.
So I actually really like the Nord draft this time round. They've got 2 really staple backliners with Melia buffing them up. We've got a decent enough front line with Vi and Cassante, and then I look at what Nord have got to, or what Ruddy have got to answer that. What's their dive tools looking like? In terms of knockups, right, the Astro's the one who wants to dive, get onto that backline. It's not easy for him to get access this game. He's working with pretty much his own wind wall or Zapdo going for a Q flash onto the backline, and then you need really good communication for that. Odds of a Rommel knocking somebody up fairly low, generally speaking. So I actually really like what Nord have got going for themselves here. A lot of safety in that backline, and not a whole lot of target access for Ruddy either.
What are your thoughts, Foxy?
Yeah, I'm gonna agree here. Actually, I really like what Nord's put together. And I think it also plays into the strengths of this team as a whole. I think we mentioned Hido just being fantastic as a bot lane carrier, consistent win condition for Nord. And they've got the tools to make him succeed. You know, they can create space for this Xayah. Xayah Emilio is a really strong combo. Emilio is still very strong as a support too. So, yeah, I think it's looking good for Nord. Ruddy obviously have a lot of comfort in their picks and definitely don't want to write them off. But yeah, I think this is a good start for Nord here in this draft.
They've got a ton more nerfs as well on 13-14, right? Because there were the nerfs that came through for 13-13, and I was preaching to anybody that would listen, these nerfs were fake. They did not matter at all. The champ's still absolutely bonkers. So happy to see it get picked up here. I really like that you called it out at the top of the draft and that we get to see it sort of come through paired with a hyperscaling AD carry, because it is just going to scale into oblivion as we get later on.
I think for me, when you look at the drafts, it feels like Nord have got themselves, you know, a comp with very clear kind of win conditions. A team that, you know, it's relatively simple to understand the play pattern and how they're going to be, you know, what they're going to be doing once we've kind of moved out of laning phase and how their team functions. I feel for the side of Ruddy, it's very much down to like an execution-based thing. The Sejuani is an amazing pick with both the Gwen and the Yasuo solo lanes because it's very easy to stack that passive. You can kind of make the ganks happen using those 2 tools, and then eventually moving into a 1-3-1. But a 1-3-1 is always going to be way harder than a team that can just like one-shot waves and run at you and kind of play the map in that sense. So it's going to really be down to Ruddy to play this execution well. We've highlighted, though, that this is a team who are playing comfort, so they are going to have that element of, it's not like this is the first time Envy Carry's pulled out Yasuo. It's not the first time Sheehan has pulled out that Gwen. I feel these guys have put themselves in a nice, comfortable spot to start the series. We'll have to see if this game is going to go their way or not.
And remember, right, like you say, Jake, Ruddy, not a team that are, first timing Yasuo by any means. Not a team either that have been put into let's say draft disadvantages before and still come away with victory. Zapdo exceptionally proactive in the early game, very much one of those junglers who will look to find advantages and force them on any sort of notion that if there's a slight chance of a fight, they'll try and take it. Ruddy as a team as 5 as well, very happy to take fights when it looks like it will be disadvantaged and use those better hands to come away with a victory.
Well, it looks like, as expected, and has been the meta for a while, we don't really get any early invades or shenanigans. Everyone just kind of starts up that defensive line. What we saw all day yesterday, I don't really expect, unless you have like a very cheesy team, to go for those early plays. Puyi and Toaster, though, are setting up for maybe a little bit of an early poke, using that Winter's Bite and just trying to get as much damage on somebody if they can make it connect. Hiddo is going to eat that. Just takes a little bit of damage, but some of that damage is going to actually get blocked out as Hiddo does find himself in a bit of danger. The Ghost has been popped. The Ignite actually comes in. The heal to follow. Seneca able to block that next Winter's Bite, meaning he will get away. But now Zapdo maybe playing for an early gank bot side.
Oh, both flashes are still up here, and Zapdo gonna have to jump in really, really quickly. I don't think his teammates will be level 2 either. He's just gonna go in now.
Oh, instant flash from Hiddo, and that's the lane state in a very bad place for Nord. Both summoner spells burnt on the first wave, and it looks like Hiddo just heavily chunked out.
And Indecision is in no spot either to counter jungle to punish Zapdo for that one either. So not too bad there for Ruddy.
Now we need to see if Ruddy can find a return gank down on that bot side, right? Zion, no flash, no ghost. And you've got a window before level 6 where she's exceptionally targetable. Can find first blood for Toast to start that Ezreal scaling and poke into the mid game, coming through a little bit sooner. Would love to see if Zapdo can clear out just those couple of topside camps that he's going to have, make sure that he's not falling too far behind the curve, but then continue to play around this bot side with your mid lane overlap as well. And facilitate NV carry if they want to find a gank there, but mainly looking to put Hiddo even further behind.
Absolutely. Well, seeing Kakos just playing this lane in a, as we kind of expect, it's probably just going to be a little bit calmer for a while. Eventually, though, Sheehan should just be able to get to the point where can probably just run amok with this lane. Is the build path still Riftmaker? It's actually been a hot minute since I've seen a Gwen off the top of my head. It's still Riftmaker, right? You just have like infinite sustain.
Riftmaker, Nashes, and then just like maybe not even Nashes these days. I don't know. Like you can just go flat AP and it still be fine. There's a lot of honestly, there's just good items when you go flat AP on Gwen. The Q just melts people.
Yeah, very powerful. Well, we are seeing Indecision still hovering around that bot side. Obviously, Hiddo was forced out of lane very early. It's currently 12 CS down, but the Wizard Wave crashing into them, so they should be able to equalize some of that farm deficit. But being forced to base on 3 minions is never a good feeling. And Hiddo, who started with Cole, is probably a little bit sad with the current state of everything on that front. As is now going to lose any of that jungle presence as Indecision's moving up towards the top side. And with Envy Carry holding quite a lot of pressure here in this mid lane, it does feel like Zapdo was fairly comfortable just to kind of get some information on where Indecision is. Doesn't really want to take that early kind of exchange or steal attempt yet.
It's just so textbook Zapdo though. Like I think every single game that I've seen him play, if it's somewhat available, he will go for that chicken respawn invade. And oftentimes he's there as it spawns and he's able to just take it away really quickly. Indecision, however, was prepared, so he's able to take it and not have it stolen by Zapdo, who'll just go back into his own jungle here. You can see a little bit of an advantage over to Indecision because Zapdo decided to go down bot. Obviously, the cost of that advantage really depends on what happens to Hiddo as this game goes on.
Well, they are trying to get some damage down, but that's the power of the Brawn, blocking those feathers from getting placed on the floor. So you lose a lot of that kind of trading power, as Toaster just found out what happens when the feathers are on the floor. And doing a good job of actually kind of recuperating, which is a very, very rough start for them. Toaster, though, hasn't actually taken a reset yet, so it's just looking to kind of get that Sheen gold ready for them. As Sheen taking this trade here versus Kakos, building up those Qs, flashing in. Sheehan, he's going for the kill, unable to connect it. The minion wave's just a little bit too big, and we'll just trim through that one.
Yeah, I really like the Q flash from Sheehan there to try and get enough damage onto Kakos. Unfortunately, didn't quite have the numbers in the back pocket to make that come through. And it's nice to see our top lane is giving us a little bit of skirmish early on as well. Level 5 to level 6 for Ruddy's top lane, so something maybe gone a little bit wrong in terms of collecting experience at some point in the lane. But with that being said, Kakos able to survive the early onslaught. Oh,
Zapdo getting spotted out there as well as he was looking for a potential gank. Indecision also hovering for that countering gank if it does come through. Envy does now hit that 6 mark. But Omen also got his, so pretty hard to really jump in, especially when Indecision is just making sure that this wave does crash. As Zapdo looking for the repeat gank to see if he can find an opportunity to jump in. Omen needs to be a little bit careful here. They're starting to stack everything up. They missed the knockup. Beautiful bot back there by Omen. Envy has to flash away, but Seneca's coming in. He's trying to find the damage onto Envy Carry's flashed onto. No way for him to survive. First blood to Omen. Beautifully played.
So nice by Omen there. The sidestep on the tornado and then the shuffle back under tower. God, that was so, like, not only does he get the kill there, like, he denies it from Ruddy, who invested so much time and energy into that play and come out completely blank. Indecision now is pathing around to the bot side, trying to get control on this bot river. Really nice stuff from Omen there for the first blood.
And it's subtle, I think, is the best way of putting it, right? It doesn't seem like a lot to dodge a tornado in a situation like that, but it is the difference there between getting knocked up and ulted and not being able to Shuma Shuffle 2 people back under the turret, and then obviously being able to, finding a kill for yourself as well. Got to credit Seneca for the roam time as well, the cozy campfire there with the extended auto attack range, giving Omen purchase to find that kill in response and get himself first blood. Ruddy though, they are going to be able to take this first Drake of the game, down about 800 gold at the minute, so Drake's going to feel a little bit nice for them, just making sure that they're grasping some intangibles for the move speed.
Yeah, it was a nice little pickup for them, considering how badly that play had gone. Now, Kakos is hovering around Envy Carry. He will see him as the top lane Yasuo. I always feel that about... Oh, God, I forgot his name already.
Gasante?
Gasante, thank you.
I had a blank in draft as well for his name. I don't know why.
Such a blank there. It's got that, like, cube that charges up just like Yasuo.
Yeah. True, actually, and a bit of a flip back as well. Burger flip with a knockup.
He's top lane tank Yasuo.
Yeah,
and high skill expression.
Yasuo
So
with his buffs. Have you seen that? His flow buff coming through. I don't think that's happening this patch, right? I think that's next patch that will be coming through. Yeah, they're buffing his shield. It's gonna be even tankier.
Oh, yeah, that's what we needed.
Yeah,
honestly. Yeah, Yasuo's getting to the 0-10 power spike later on. That is actually a nerf if we think about it.
Facts. You're so true. That keeps him alive and ruins the 0-10 Bass 5 head. That is right. What are you doing? Don't even know their own game.
They thought it was a buff. They've been fooled by numbers.
Looks like all of the teams actually are looking to try and contest this Herald. It feels like Ruddy, though, don't really have the presence or the power to be able to go for it. First into the river, Nord were able to move, so it does mean that Ruddy are just going to have to kind of play the give this up game. They did get that earlier dragon, though. They have got a wave crashing bot side, so if they can get 2 plates off the back of that, I'm sure they'll be happy enough. And Hiddo being forced to take the long way back towards his lane, although Seneca might find himself in danger, is going to just play that avoidance game. And Hiddo losing a lot, while Toaster is able to pick up those 2 plates. And with a wave crashing in again, Hiddo still doesn't have his support, just getting the damage down onto Toaster. Toaster needs to be careful. They miss out on that ultimate. There's the Featherstorm. There is the teleport. Ruddy able to really burn a lot there and not lose too much for it.
It's a bit of an awkward situation here for Zapdo in that ulti with Sejuani. I think if he actually doesn't whiff that one... I see, he had his ult, right? But he didn't use it until after Sejuani ult. And I don't know if that's because he saw the Sejuani ult go wide, or I don't know. But either way, you've got to at least force something out of that one. Still, getting the teleport from Catchcost is cool on the dive. Like it's all right, but I kind of think that Ruddy could have got more out of that. Whether it was more of a successful dive bot side, or if they just don't fully give up the Rift Herald. Like, I think Nord actually kind of peeled away from Rift Herald a little bit too preemptively there, and Ruddy could have just looped back around. But either way, it's good all in all there for Nord. Going to get that Shelly as well, and we'll see what Indecision does with it. So far, he is pathing down bots. Might sap this one down here. Doesn't have TP on either top lane. This could just be a 3v2.
Yeah, Toaster's in a little bit of danger here. They're buying some space. There's the knockback. Looking for the knock-up as well. Beautifully placed, actually. But Toaster, remember, still doesn't have that E, so he needs to play this carefully. He doesn't give a damn. He's just walking into the 3 of them. Landing Q after Q. We'll have his E back up by now. As Indecision is looking for him again. He E's forwards. That's dangerous. They're going to chase onto Toaster. They're going to put the wall up to try and block out on those feathers. As Indecision's in danger, they get the stun down. Toaster able to escape. Another Q. There's the interrupt onto 2. Toaster flashes away. Hiddo finds the kill. And Ruddy getting a little bit too over-eager on that play. Going to pay a heavy toll.
You can see what Toaster's thinking there. Knows with Flash and Heal he should be safe. Unfortunately, he doesn't respect the knock-up from Vi herself. Indecision manages to find that second Vault Breaker, knock him up, and then using the Summoner spells after the fact is unfortunately just not worthwhile.
Oh, that's just so broken though, isn't it? That. Man, the Milio ulti crazy, just saving Hido in that one. At least, like, we're denying the recalls. I mean, that's okay, but yeah, I mean, you don't have. I don't think this is really a big one. I think you're just gonna have to walk away here if you're Zapdo. Just a bit too aggressive from Toaster on that play, jumping forward, knowing the enemy jungle is still around. So not only do you die, giving a kill over to Hido on the Xayah, but that was a big wave that Toaster lost under the tower as well. So yeah, big price to pay for the hubris on that Ezreal.
And if we, want to quantify that just quickly, you can see it's Mythic versus no Mythic at the minute, right? We've got first item, I suppose.
Yeah.
Versus first item. Kraken Slayer finished up for Hido. And of course, with the Cull in his back pocket, he's going to get a cash out in about 4 waves time as well. Meaning he's going to be more than happy to match this Ezreal scaling and really put down damage in that team fight. Maybe a little bit sooner than we'd anticipated, given how the level 1 went.
Yeah, it's Spike versus no Spike right now, and it's a big deal considering this dragon is spawning, so we're not going to want to give this one over for free, as Ruddy's already started up.
Yeah, teleport coming in. Sheehan wants to join into the action. Looks like that is just going to have to be Nord giving it up. They may try and get a return play with that Herald in the bot side. They've already used it. I'm an idiot. Oh, no, they've just placed it. That's why. So we'll be looking to place that down on that bot side. It will get the charge off, and there's not really too much Ruddy can do about that. But the plate gold will only go over to Indecision off the back of that one. So overall, not ideal. They would have much rather have given that gold to Hido or Omen to give him a little bit more of an answer. But that is just going to have to be how it is. Envy Carry is looking here for Kakos. Will try and find him with a knockup, but a beautiful block out there from Kakos as Envy Carry charging up that tornado once again. Does land it, commits for the fight into Kakos, dodging away, puts down that wind wall to block away, flashes forward looking for Kakos. Trying to finish him up here underneath the tower. Not going to happen. Misses that last knockup, and the flash used there by Envy Carry. Maybe a little optimistically, but did get Kakos in response.
Yeah, you can see, right? This K'Sante has 0 armor. Doesn't matter. Unfortunately, you don't have Blade of the Ruin King, you don't have that first item finished for the Yasuo. The base damage is unfortunately not quite high enough, and despite what was honestly a fairly well played execution from ND Carry, not quite able to find the solo bowler up on that top side. I do want to, pull back to that top lane a little bit, because it has been sort of a silent killer for Ruddy this game. Currently sat with a nice advantage on to Sheehan. Got himself that Riftmaker finish as well already, so Omon's just killed NB Carry in the mid lane. Okay.
Oh! Well, I'm assuming Indecision's ultimate there was committed for it, as it is on cooldown, so
yeah,
a little bit rough there for Envy Carry. 8 kills to go, though, and he's there. Meanwhile, in the bot side, Toaster and Pui, there we go, actually had a really solid trade onto Hido and Seneca, forcing Hido very, very low, and we were talking about how there's that item spike versus no item spike. Toaster did that pre-Triforce. Now he's got the Triforce. These trades are really going to clap onto Hido.
I just really go back to the catch. He's got no flash, remember?
Yeah, Kakos, he might get himself in a whole world of danger, pulling back this edge, wanting for an escape dash. Really nicely played there by Kakos, but ultimate committed. There's another wave crashing in, and Zapdo may just stop his recall. The ultimate's about to time out. This could be really rough. He's not getting away from this one. No way he can survive. They bring the teleport in, and actually Omen may come in and save the day. Seneca's coming in on the flank as well, and suddenly Ruddy have found themselves outnumbered, outmanned. No way Sheehan can survive this. Flashes over the wall. Omen chases in after him. Pui too slow to the play. Indecision Vault Breakers over the wall, and that's all they can do, but watch.
And this is it, right? We saw in draft, we talked about Envy Carry's Yasuo. Oh, it's the pop-off champion, 4 games most played, 100% win rate so far in the NLC on Yasuo with Envy Carry. But it's not him who's making the plays this time around. It was the blind pick, Azir from Omen. He's really, really made it happen. He's made it happen in mid. He's roamed around and got kills as well. This could be the story of mid lane in a different way that we were anticipating coming out of that draft.
I think Oman this entire season had been just the definition of inconsistency, right? Verdant, our team that came through the early season very successfully, only to lose to Oman on Ari. Had a stellar performance through the first round robin of the regular split, and then went off and had like a 0-7 Yasuo game or something like that as well.
Oh no. Zapdo in danger. Omen 4-0. It feels like he's turned himself around as we hit playoffs. A really good time to hit that spike and kind of come alive. And right now, he is gapping Envy Carry pretty hard here. As Sheehan, in a bit of danger, is able to dash away. But Ruddy definitely on the back foot, and this is what we kind of predicted. They're kind of more spicy. They're more interesting. Champ pool can potentially bite them in the backside. And Nord have recognized that's exactly what's going on this game, and they're just trying to outclass them.
And I do want to, call back to some of those concerns that we had in the draft. How do Ruddy ever kill Oman or Fido this game? Between the Melio plus the self-peel from both of those two carries independently, and the lack of ability to, dive onto the backline for Ruddy, you tend to get very scared at their chances.
Absolutely. Well, just before we go back to us on the camera, you can see there is a 3,000 gold lead over to Nord already at the start of this game. So they've kicked it off in solid style. I guess the question is what are the avenues right now? Because it feels like for the side of Nord, they're starting to build up a bit of a lead. You've got Omen he's got 4 kills on this Azir, is very, very powerful, very potent right now. Desire as well hitting a major spike as we just saw them absolutely blitz through Envy Carry's health bar. And if it wasn't for Pui there to kind of put the wall up and block him from getting finalized, that actually might have been a 0-3 Yasuo. The question is what do Ruddy need to do in this next stage of play? Because they've been able to stack 2 dragons for themselves. So they have an advantage there, but is that enough?
I think this puts a pause on Nord running away with this game, right? Like, if you're this far ahead in the early game and you had both dragons, you can easily just move from this map state to securing Soul, right? But obviously that's not on the cards, and Ruddy have been able to pick up both those early dragons. So fortunately for Ruddy's side, they're not under any immediate pressure to try and make things happen. I would suggest conceding this next dragon, not really playing too much around it, and instead what you want to do is just wait a little bit. You want to wait until MV Carry on this Yasuo has like maybe 2 items, or maybe even 3 if you really want to be patient with it. Right now, just on that Mythic, just on that Gale Force, it's not going to be enough. And exactly as Rude mentioned, like in these team fights, your target selection, it's just very difficult. It's very, very hard to find these priority targets, to find that engage. And specifically with the Yasuo, there's no good setup. I don't think that Brawl Molt's going to hit any meaningful targets for Yasuo to follow up. And the only other option is just Sejuani Q, which is a similar thing. So we'll see how this team fight plays out.
Yeah, Kakos trying to play that flank angle. Is Shin just able to clear through the ward. Dragon is going to get started up, and Pui going to play block. Up goes the wall immediately. If Carry has charged up that tornado and is just looking to try and land those out. Pui has to land an absolutely beautiful one here. They missed the ultimate. There comes the Melio. Just to buy some space with the ult prop down. The Omen shuffles back, and that might just be Sheehan already finished up. They can't really find the follow-up, and 2 members have fallen. Kakos finds the isolation. The knockback onto Envy Carry. Envy Carry does answer out with a kill, but he is donezo. He is finished. Hiddo looking to finish the kill with a double as Nord absolutely destroy Ruddy in the team fight.
All of our fears are coming to life here. Nord, they just happily step forward. Oman dashing in to 4 people there from Ruddy, and Ruddy don't really have a response either. Nobody able to get on top of Oman, nobody able to find access to Hiddo. He's able to use Ghost freely to step forward, still has flash, still has ulti. If there's anybody that's trying to challenge him on a dive, Drake goes the way of Norden. Just as Foxtrot mentioned, saying, Ruddy, you probably don't want to contest this, Drake. You're down so far already. Really comes back to bite them when they do.
That's exactly what I'm thinking now. Before that Drake fight happened, I was like, probably don't want to go for this one. As the Drake fight was happening, I was like, I'm not quite sure I already want this one. And now the Drake fight's finished. It's like, why did Ruddy go for that one? I don't get it. Like, they must have known. I mean, they didn't have a single kill before that play. Not a single one. You can see how big Omen is. You can see how weak your Yasuo is in response. Like, there's just no way that you make that work. And I think even if you're on an even level, it's difficult for reasons that we've mentioned. It's just, yeah, I mean, it's tragic there. Like, this is the problem. When you're behind, you don't want to dig yourself into an even deeper hole. That's exactly what Ruddy have done by opting into that fight.
Yeah, it's a bit of a rough one there for them. They were trying to force that soul point, and I think it was just a little bit too eager considering the lead. And Omen honestly having an absolutely stellar performance, almost 100% kill participation, just missing out on the one. Has been such an integral part for Nord getting ahead this game, but Omen does seem to find himself being a little careful because Zapdo could set up onto him. Maybe they're baiting, maybe they're aware that this play is going to come out as they are just waiting in the wings. Seneca's going to step forward, they throw everything down onto him immediately, jumping onto Omen. He just shuffles the pair of the back, shuffles himself to safety. Omen survives with getting a kill, jumping away. The needlework from Sheehan's coming in, Decisions trying to play some space, but there's the shutdown. There's the return kill, a 1-for-1 coming out, and that in favor, honestly, of Ruddy.
Yeah, signs of life here from Ruddy. Really nice to see that they're not going to be deterred by the early game weaknesses that they found themselves in. Finding that shutdown onto Omen. And I love this gold toggle here. 3,000 gold deficit for the mid laners. 1k
so
basically for the mid laner, or for the AD carries as well. Just all of the gold in the right spots for Nord, and even despite that shutdown, yes, it went on to Sheehan, who's now got a little bit of a gold lead over the Cassante. I mean, Kachkos has been this stalwart top laner the entire split long, and him not being ahead of the Gwen really doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's very inconsequential at this point. Like, you've picked Cassante just to absorb pressure, to chill out. You don't have to have the gold. You don't need to even really be able to effectively pressure or match this Gwen. You just have to make sure that Gwen doesn't run away with the game. And on the other side here, with getting that big old shutdown, that big fat juicy 550 or however much it was for the Gwen, that's now become a little bit of your win condition here. You want Gwen to now go into a side to create a kind of unassailable amount of pressure in a side against the Cassante. That's where all your gold's at. It's nowhere else. You can't match Nord 1-for-1 in any of your other roles. The pressure is now on Sheehan to try and do something so much easier said than done against the Cassante, who's that kind of immovable object in that top lane. But that's kind of where you're at now with Ruddy. It's got to be now on Sheehan. It's got to be on that Gwen. Try and make something happen, and if not, get a flank, get a pick, and let her run away with a team fight.
It is difficult, but those are the only options, really. It comes down to Sheehan being able to 1-3-1 effectively. And that's a compositional thing that we'd highlighted for Ruddy that they should be able to do with this draft. That was how we were expecting them to try and get away with the fact that they don't have the best dive necessarily onto Hido. Use the long lanes, use minions for NV carry to be able to chase people down them. Use the Gwen's long ability to chase as well, to make sure that you're finding those advantages in the side lanes. You can see that Ruddy are trying to set up for it. Right, they've got NV carry up in this top lane, but with Nord moving all 5 people into the river, Sheehan knows that he's not got teleport. He has to move instantly as soon as they start this Baron.
Yeah, they really want to go for that one. Omen does eat the knockup, but they don't feel comfortable. That was enough. A lot of health already lost here as they are chasing out. It looks like Nord are just going to have to disengage from the Baron. And Ruddy actually decided it's time for them to start it up. Indecision does have flash. Sheehan's going to come around, find Indecision here. Channeling the Q up. Omen is immediately one-shot. Mr. Spin the Block is absolutely popping off, finding a double kill onto the 2 major players. Baron secured for Ruddy as Kakos brings one with him, but the rest of Ruddy launching over the walls, going in for the chase, and Nord limping away from the Baron pit.
They found it. They found their angle on Ruddy, coming out with Baron, coming out with 2 kills as well, both of them going over to the Gwen. He found his angle, and the shuffle from Omen, from Azir, it does nothing when Gwen is immune, and Gwen is immune. Easy peasy for him right there, picking up that kill when Omen's down. That's a big one. That's a big one to lose. Too low on the health bars across the rest of his team. Ruddy finding their way back into this game.
Really good capitalization off of what was, it has to be said, generally sloppy play around the Baron from Nord. They have exceptional turn with a Vi. They just didn't use it at all right there. Toaster even dashes forward. At that point, Decision just has to go in and say, okay, and Ezreal's just dashed into me. What kind of a game are we playing where we're 5k down, Ezreal's dashing into us at Baron, and we don't feel like we can punish that. So a little bit of miscommunication between Nord maybe, definitely, and mis-execution around that Baron. Now Ruddy get to recuperate all of that gold. There are still 3 turrets outside of the base for them to claim. They're not ahead in gold yet. They still need to do a lot of legwork to try and catch back up to an even 5v5 team fight, especially with the compositional disadvantages that we've highlighted so many times already this game. But with a Baron at their back, they are as best poised to do that as they could possibly be.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. I think the main thing is Sheehan just on that flank getting those 2 kills onto both Omen and Indecision, just sealing the deal. But now they got the Baron, that 1-3-1 we were talking about, that kind of split push pressure and playing the lanes, very much on the cards for Ruddy. But it actually looks like they're trying to hover like a 4-man death ball and just rotate between mid and top and play towards Sheehan, realizing they're worth a shutdown. They're the major carry right now. Without Sheehan, Ruddy don't really have a team, don't really have a force. And Zapdo looking to come in on this flank. Kakos will find him. They immediately throw everything down onto Zapdo. Zapdo's in danger. They find the knock on to a couple of members, and in jumps the rest of the team. Nord able to hold their own, though. Survive that play. Will clear through the wave as well, as Omen just continues to use the soldiers to poke out onto the Ruddy members as they do get some damage onto Sheehan. He's in some serious danger. Hiddo doing some work. The needlework comes in for the slow. And that fight is now finally done. I say that, but Omen slides forwards and finishes off Toaster. He's down. Now Envy carries in the wrong position. Hasn't got his tornado charged up. He dashes away to safety with the Gale Force away from Indecision's Q. That was close.
And just as we're, you know, praising Ruddy for their ability to capitalize on mistakes, they make one of their own there. Toaster getting rooted up and followed through on by Omen. Really nice execution from the Azir in the mid lane, making up for the little oopsie that we had around that Baron pit. You get to see from Ruddy, though, some of the insane value that this Braum has been providing. I was skeptical of it in the draft as a blind pick, but making sure that Hiddo isn't just rattling through all of the team of Ruddy and only able to put down the minute amount of damage through that shield.
And we saw, I'm not quite sure what it was or why. Pre might, no, Pre's fine. So he flashed forward towards the choke point to then lay down his ulti, and it really ruined that first engage for Nord. It completely killed it. And I'm not sure whether Pre was just doing some kind of 5-head play to like disengage, as, you know, you would kind of just expect from a Braum, or whether he was trying to land like a 5-man knock-up to get a sick Yasuo combo. Either way, that the last one didn't come through. So, but it was just something there that you have to respect coming into the Braum. Like Nord deciding to go all out on a Sejuani is iffy to begin with, but when his team's around and they can just disengage with the Braum, it's always going to be very difficult. Omen, despite, as you mentioned, the oopsie at Baron, is still exceptionally strong. You need to respect him, and he was able to find that kill against Ruddy, and that will be crucially now for Nord, that Baron buff expiring on their opposing team, so they can hold out just a little bit easier now.
So we do have a Drake spawning about 1 minute 20 time. Would be Soul for Ruddy if they take it. I think we need to, you know, we in the midst of all the chaos that we've seen of the last 5 minutes, remind everybody that Ruddy still have one fed carry in the top lane, and that's about it. Their AD carry, their mid laner, not able to go toe-to-toe with the counterparts that are there for Nord. Omen, level 16, 3 items. Hiddo, 3 items as well on the Xayah. So very, very strong. And again, not a lot of backline access for Ruddy. We need to see them make the most of the unique angles that they've been able to find previously and try and do that again.
Well, delaying the resets actually there may hurt Nord somewhat. That true shot barrage from Toaster just slowing them down. Remember, Soul's up in that 40 seconds time, and Nord now only just getting back onto the map, meaning that this river in this area is already heavily warded up and controlled by Ruddy. So Nord going in somewhat blind as Zapdo is going to find himself getting somewhat poked out by Omen, but at the moment there's enough tankiness on Zapdo to be able to survive that. Decisions making sure the wave does push forwards, and Nord gonna spot out Ruddy there with that blue trinket. They still got 2 more of those to go as well. Sheehan gets spotted out immediately in response as well. And Envy Carry just playing off in the wings, waiting for an opportunity to jump in forwards. Is Nord, this is the power of their team. They can't just one-shot through these mid waves, get pressure there, now rotate down, and all the while, Ruddy are going to have to be very worried about this minion wave pushing in. They're going to throw everything down there onto Toaster. Toaster gets caught out. They don't actually find that full knock-up combination in. Hiddo trying to get the damage off onto the members. Finds himself one already. There's a 1-for-1 trade, though. Omen comes in. A 4-man shuffle. Hiddo comes in with a triple kill, mopping up all of them. It's the Quadra. Zapdo flashed onto. Hiddo's going for it. It's a penta, baby.
Another
Not
one!
again!
He can't keep getting away with it!
Every single time, man. Stop giving him Xayah. We talked about this in the regular season. Talk about it in playoffs as well. Every chance he gets, he delivers.
Ridiculous scenes here from Hiddo. We even said coming into the game, this was the man, the reliable carry, the big boy in the bot lane, and Hido. Pentakill to end out game number 1.
I told you today was going to be the polar opposite of yesterday. An absolutely explosive